Imagine this. A recent survey asks what matters most in a job, and the answers, they might surprise you. Hypothetically, 40% of Gen Z say they'd rather work for a company with a strong social mission, even if it pays less. Meanwhile, nearly half of all millennials report feeling financially insecure, making a stable income a top priority. This isn't just a preference, it's a generational divide shaping the future of work. Welcome to What Gen Z Wants at Work versus Millennials, Purpose over Paycheck. We're decoding the new rules of career satisfaction, exploring how two generations approach their professional lives with wildly different playbooks. If your LinkedIn feed is full of job advice, hit like. And if you're ready to uncover what truly drives your generation and the one after you at work, definitely subscribe. Purpose and values, mission-driven versus practical impact. Let's start with the big one, purpose. For years, we've heard that younger generations want their work to mean something more than just a 9-to-5. But the very definition of meaning seems to change depending on when you enter the workforce. For millennials, who came of age during the long shadow of the 2008 financial crisis, purpose is often a pragmatic ideal. They were the generation that first pushed for mission-driven work, but this desire is frequently balanced against a pressing need for job stability and fair compensation. According to Deloitte's 2025 Global Gen Z and Millennial Survey, an overwhelming 92% of millennials consider a sense of purpose important to their job satisfaction. Yet, with nearly half of them feeling financially insecure, this idealism is tempered by reality. They might seek to drive change from within an established corporation or find purpose in their personal lives, funded by a stable career. Gen Z, on the other hand, approaches this with the conviction of an activist. For them, value alignment is less a preference and more a non-negotiable prerequisite. Having grown up hyper-connected and acutely aware of global issues like climate change and social inequality, they view their employer as a direct extension of their identity. They vote with their resumes. Data shows that around 40% of Gen Z have rejected a job offer or assignment because it conflicted with their ethics or values. Another survey found that 65% of Gen Z undergrads won't even apply to a company if its values don't align with their own. The underlying driver for this is a fundamental shift in the psychological contract, that unwritten deal between an employee and employer. For Gen Z, this contract now explicitly includes ideological alignment. This is most visible in their demands for authentic diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. A 2024 study revealed that 77% of Gen Z workers see DEI as a vital factor in their job decisions, a significant jump from 63% of their millennial counterparts. Imagine a job interview. A millennial hiring manager, let's call her Sarah, is prepared for questions about promotion timelines and salary bands, the very questions she asked a decade ago. But the Gen Z candidate, Alex, leans in and asks, "Can you walk me through your company's progress on reducing its Scope 3 emissions and what the demographic breakdown of your executive leadership looks like?" Sarah is taken aback. For her generation, purpose was something you hoped to find in the job. For Alex's generation, the company's purpose is a prerequisite for the job. This shift is putting immense pressure on companies to move beyond mission statements on a wall. They must now demonstrate an authentic, measurable commitment to their stated values. In the age of digital transparency, greenwashing and performative activism are spotted and shared in an instant. Compensation and advancement, secure income versus rapid upskilling. Now let's talk about money. While purpose is crucial, Deloitte reports that the cost of living remains the top concern for both generations. But how they approach earning that money and defining career advancement reveals another deep, strategic divide. For many millennials, the primary goal is stability. Entering the workforce during a historic recession instilled a deep-seated appreciation for a steady paycheck and a clear path forward. They prioritize reliable income growth and transparent promotion ladders to manage student debt, buy homes, and support families. With financial insecurity on the rise, jumping from 32% in 2024 to 46% for millennials in 2025, a secure job isn't just a preference, it's a core defense mechanism against economic volatility. Gen Z, having watched millennials navigate these challenges, has adopted a different playbook, the portfolio approach. They also demand fair pay, but their strategy is more fluid and transactional. They treat their careers like a portfolio of assets, making strategic moves to acquire skills and salary bumps. This is reflected in job tenure data. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports the median tenure for workers aged 25 to 34 is just 2.7 years. Some analyses suggest Gen Z's average is even shorter, closer to 2 years. This isn't disloyalty. It's a calculated economic response to a world where staying put often means falling behind. What's driving this? A radical redefinition of ambition. In a stunning insight from Deloitte's research, only 6% of both Gen Z and millennials state that reaching a top leadership position is their primary career goal. Ambition is no longer a simple vertical climb. It's about holistic growth that integrates skill development and personal well-being. Picture 2 job offers. Offer A is at a large, stable corporation. It pays 15% more and has a great retirement plan, but the role is narrowly defined. Offer B is at a dynamic startup. The pay is lower, but it offers hands-on experience with AI implementation, product marketing, and data analytics. A millennial like David might choose Offer A, valuing the security it provides for his mortgage and long-term goals. Meanwhile, a Gen Z-er like Maria might choose Offer B, seeing the lower salary as a short-term investment in skills that can catapult her to higher earnings in just 18 months. This shift is fundamentally reshaping talent retention. The old promise of loyalty in exchange for security has been broken. To retain top talent today, companies must offer a new deal: continuous learning and real skill development. We've unpacked what truly drives each generation at work. But where do you stand? Is it purpose or paycheck that matters most to you? Drop a for purpose or for paycheck in the comments and tell us what drives your career choices. Work-life balance and flexibility, non-negotiable boundaries versus adapting integration. And now for the topic that dominates every conversation about the future of work: balance and flexibility. What began as a millennial buzzword has evolved into a Gen Z ultimatum. Millennials pioneered the conversation. They saw the burnout of previous generations and vowed to do things differently. But as the first generation to carry a smartphone in their pocket from the start of their careers, they also ushered in the always-on culture they now struggle against. They seek balance, but often find themselves adapting to the blurred boundaries of remote work, where the living room becomes the office and the workday never truly ends. Gen Z, in contrast, treats work-life balance and mental health as fundamental, non-negotiable rights. They are explicit about not living to work and are far more willing to enforce hard boundaries, from quiet quitting to refusing unpaid overtime. This isn't a sign of poor work ethic. It's a proactive defense against the burnout they witnessed in the generation before them. The data is stark. A 2024 LinkedIn report found that 72% of Gen Z have considered leaving a job due to lack of flexible policies, compared to 55% of millennials. Psychologically, this is a demand for autonomy, a core human need for control over one's own life, as described in self-determination theory, and the stakes couldn't be higher. A stunning 2024 study revealed that 68% of millennials and an incredible 81% of Gen Z have left jobs for mental health reasons. This elevates well-being from a personal issue to a critical business metric. Let's imagine it's 7 p.m. A millennial manager, Ben, gets a quick question email from his boss. He sighs but opens his laptop. It's just part of the deal. He then pings his Gen Z team member Chloe with a follow-up. Her status is set to offline recharging. He gets an auto-reply. Thanks for your message. I am offline for the day and will respond during my working hours tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Ben is momentarily annoyed and then impressed. He accepted the blurred lines. Chloe is redrawing them. The implications are massive. Companies are being forced to rethink everything from meeting schedules to after-hours email expectations. Mental health support is shifting from a hidden benefit to a proactive, visible strategy. Flexibility is no longer a perk. It's a core component of the modern employment contract. Learning and development, accelerated growth versus structured progression. Finally, let's look at growth. Both generations are deeply ambitious, but their roadmaps to success look completely different. It's the difference between a guided tour and a high-speed off-road rally. Millennials tend to value structured progression. They appreciate formal training programs, clear mentorship hierarchies, and a well-defined career ladder that spells out the steps from analyst to manager to director. For them, development is often tied to the organizational chart. Gen Z, the ultimate digital natives, demand accelerated and on-demand upskilling. They grew up learning from YouTube tutorials and expect to acquire skills at the speed of a download. They crave frequent, informal feedback, not a dreaded annual review. According to Deloitte's 2025 survey, 70% of Gen Z are actively developing new skills at least once a week, significantly more than their millennial colleagues at 59%. They need to see the immediate practical application of what they learn. The elephant in the room, of course, is generative AI. Both generations are concerned it will eliminate jobs, but they also see it as a powerful catalyst for learning new skills. This creates an urgent demand for upskilling. And interestingly, they aren't just focused on technical abilities. Over 85% of both generations believe soft skills like leadership, communication, and empathy are most important for their future careers, perhaps recognizing these as the uniquely human traits that automation cannot replicate. Consider a team that needs new skills in data visualization. The millennial team lead, Jessica, asks HR about scheduling a formal workshop for next quarter. While she waits, her Gen Z intern, Leo, has already watched 6 hours of tutorials, built a prototype dashboard using a free online tool, and sent it to Jessica asking for quick feedback on the UX. Jessica is floored. She was waiting for permission to learn. Leo just learned. This is forcing a revolution in corporate learning and development. Annual training budgets are being reallocated to on-demand platforms. The focus is shifting from top-down programs to fostering a bottom-up culture of continuous, self-directed learning. Conclusion. So, what have we learned? The purpose over paycheck narrative is too simple. It's not a binary choice. For Gen Z, purpose is a non-negotiable entry fee. But for both generations, it's part of a tightly interconnected trifecta of money, meaning, and well-being. Millennials shaped by economic scars approach this with pragmatic caution. Gen Z, digital natives who saw their predecessors struggle, approach it with proactive, boundary-setting demands. And neither approach is better or worse. They are rational responses to the world each generation inherited. The modern workplace is where these two powerful currents meet. The companies that will win the future are those that offer authentic purpose, true flexibility, and continuous opportunities for growth. In this new landscape, millennials can learn from Gen Z's courage to set boundaries, while Gen Z can learn from millennials' resilience and long-term strategic planning. Ultimately, both generations are searching for the same thing: a meaningful life and a job that supports it, not drains it. The future of work isn't about one generation's playbook dominating the other. It's about building dynamic, effective, and human-centered organizations where everyone can thrive. What's your ultimate priority when choosing a job? Share your unique perspective in the comments below. And if this episode helped you understand your boss or your new hire a little better, hit like and subscribe. Join GenShift as we continue to decode the fascinating future of work.